Hello, gang. Welcome to another episode of Rim Shots with Sean on the Rock Rage Radio Network, and it's brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. I got this is going to be a cool interview. My friend Dustin sent me this band last week, and this gentleman here, we're going to talk about this band called SABER. I was just like, I felt like I was put right back into 1991, 92. It was fantastic. Joel Dominguez, thanks for being here, my friend.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Sean.
So SABER, I'm sitting there and it's like, the new wave, you know, pumped is the new wave of British heavy metal sort of vibe. And I'm like, this would have been the album that Queensryche could have possibly put out after the EP.
Oh man, thank you for that.
So for starters, you're the voice behind this band.
I'm the guitar player.
Okay,
Actually.
perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said, because those riffs, man, you're not hearing riffs like that now.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Talk about the band. Talk about this band. And when people they hear it, they're just going to be blown away.
Well, yeah. So the band started back in 2018. It started when me and Steven met through like the LA circuit. We were playing in different bands. He saw me play live. I saw him sing, and I was like floored. And both of our bands ended, and we kind of just started, getting in contact with each other. And we kind of laid down the groundwork of what we wanted. And we both had similar taste in music. His favorite bands were Queensryche, Judas Priest, and I was like, I love those bands so much. And we showed him our riffs that we had because I was already working with our now drummer Jesus, but at that time he was our guitar player, and our bass player David. We've been buddies for almost 10 years, and so we have this chemistry. And once Steven joined, it was like he's been there since day one. Everything just kind of clicked. His voice on top of our riffs and song ideas just kind of went so well. It was like, where have you been all my life, man?
Right. Yeah. I thought the same thing because, you know, I don't know if you're born and bred in the SoCal area, but I mean, like where I'm from, I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, and to find anybody that could play was that type of music was few and far between. Like I grew up on the same stuff, loving the same stuff, but you could always get a band together to play the music. You could never find a singer to actually do it.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that because I mean, like, I'm in a band now where I've got a singer that can do material that other people can't. It's one of those things where it's joyous. It's the only way I can describe it.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like finding a unicorn, man. It's there.
Love that.
It really is because like there's good singers, but then there's great singers.
Right.
Singers that actually want to hone their craft, that actually practice and learn what it's actually like to sing. And it's very hard to find someone like that. And when we found Steven, he told us he's been singing in choir since he was a child. He's been like practicing night and day for years. And I was like, this is someone that really wants to hone their craft. And not only can he sing, but he's also like a really great performer. He loves bringing all that energy to the stage. And I was like, man, you are like the perfect package.
Well, I love that. And I mean, so here's the thing too, and I'm sitting there, big thing in my circles the last 2 weeks has been, does anybody really care anymore? Do they really care other than to just go and, I said to somebody, at least change the shirt that you're doing sound check into something else when you go on. Like, there just doesn't seem to be that performance vibe anymore. And when I saw you guys, I mean, at first I'm going like, okay, is this like, I didn't know what to think. And then I heard it and I was like, okay, this is music that needs to be heard because, the fact that you're all playing the instruments yourself, the fact, things like that, true throwbacks, probably using, now technology to get the sounds, but is that the vibe you're getting from people?
Oh, people love our performance. It's so like you mentioned, when we go up to sound check and whatever, we're wearing regular clothes, regular t-shirts. But when we right 5, 10 minutes before we go on stage, we go backstage, we're warming up, we change into our outfits to go on because it's not just like the songs being performed, but we're performing for an audience. We still feel that giving a show to the people is what attracts them, showing off what like back in the golden days in the 80s or like you like put on an outfit to perform to people
Right.
because music is amazing when you're listening to it, but it's way more effective when you have the visual aspect of it. And that's something that I feel like nowadays sometimes is lost. So we own it, man. Like we go up there and like we put on the outfit, and it doesn't feel like it's comical to us. It just feels natural, like Steven, if you see him out in public on a regular Tuesday, he's still wearing spandex. It's like that's just who he is.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I love that. It's just so natural. And it's like, all right, well, let's bring it to the shows, man. Like we don't see many bands doing it. There are some bands out there doing it and they do it well. But some bands in LA, they just wear jeans and a t-shirt, which is fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But we want to put on a performance for sure when we're playing live.
Well, and I think when and it's funny, I'm going to use a Kiss reference here for a second because, I'm a huge Kiss fan. And, my girlfriend, who's also a singer, has this little yacht rock band, and we always joke around about Steely Dan, and I'm just like, it's like watching paint dry. So we were going to her rehearsal, and she goes, "What's the name of Steely Dan's bass player?" And I'm like, "Exactly." That's not about Gene Simmons, right? And that's not a rip, but I mean, it's like,
No, yeah,
right.
you're very right. You're very right.
And that's not a rip because obviously they're a great band and they had some great success. But I've always been drawn into the visual, right? Like, I don't care if I can't see Kiss when I'm playing the record. I can visualize Kiss, you know,
Exactly.
and I think it's very important now to give people a little bit extra when they're forking over money to see a band. Do you
Oh
agree?
yeah, definitely. Of course. Like you want to feel like you got your money's worth, man. That you want to show up, hear great music, and see a huge, great performance. It's like that's what it's all about.
I hope you haven't been asked this question before, and I'm going to ask it with the utmost seriousness because when I first saw you guys, before I heard you, I got a bit of a Steel Panther vibe, and I don't know if people have said that to you before.
We haven't heard that before, actually. It's the first time, but
Okay.
I love that because I've seen them live multiple times. I love their music. It's comical, but it's still like top-notch music. And they put on the outfits, man. They look bitching up there.
Well, they do, and it was funny because I saw them where I live here last year, and about 3 weeks before, I had interviewed Mick Brown from Dawkins, who's become a buddy of mine, and the drummer actually.
Yeah.
I did the VIP, and he patted me on the back, and he said, "Great interview," which was cool. But the thing about you guys, when I saw the picture that Dustin sent me, I'm like, okay, these guys better be really freaking good, or. And then I heard the songs, and I'm like, okay, yep, no worries there. Um, are you guys getting a little bit maybe people prejudging the package before they hear it and just, you know what, I'm
Oh,
not going to listen to
yeah.
that?
Yeah, definitely. We did a tour with Haunt, Traveler and Screamer back in 2022, and we had a show up in the Bay Area, up in Oakland, and we're setting up our gear and like we're getting ready for showtime. We're putting on our outfits, and then some guy, older gentleman, he comes up to us and he's like, "You guys better play good because you guys don't look like you play good." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay." And then like we go up there, we do our 30-minute set. We like every single night we gave it our all. So as soon as we come off, like his eyes were glistening, jaw on the floor, and he's like, "I want to buy everything you have right now." And I was like, "Come on, man, let's go."
Everybody needs somebody like that because I mean, back to the visual piece. I remember playing a show. It was last year, and we do a set, and I'm walking off the stage, and this guy hauls me over, and he goes, "You guys look like a band. I can't tell the difference between the people eating chicken wings and the people playing the music on stage." And I was just like, and his point, in his very kind of basic way, was that people want more. Um, you can't go up there in the same shirt that you unloaded the truck in, and
Oh yeah,
you know what I
no,
mean?
you gotta have an outfit, man. You gotta.
Absolutely. So what's your process for recording? Because I mean, this is the Queensryche vibe I got. The music is intricate. The music has some pieces to it. What is your process? Because I mean, back in the day when you and I would have been growing up, and these guys that we grew up with, I mean, they didn't have punch-ins, they didn't have Pro Tools. Are you guys trying to stick to, I guess, a form of the old way, or are you just embracing technology to put this together?
So some mixture of both. So we've been for these past two records we did. We worked with Trevor Church from Haunt. He was our producer, our engineer. He like masterminded the whole thing. We recorded our demos on an interface with demo vocal tracks on top, and then we send it to him. And on the first record, he was like, "You guys don't have a drummer. Let me play drums. Like I hear the songs. I know exactly what they
Nice.
need." So yeah, we sent him the demo tracks. He played the drums over it. So we got the drums, and then once we showed up to his studio, we went in there for a week straight, man. I'm telling you, we worked night and day for about 12, 15 hours every single day. And we just laid down guitars, bass, we did overdubs, we did solos, we did vocal tracks. Vocal tracks came at the end.
Yeah.
but it was like an old school vibe. Like we lived in the studio, like just listening to the songs, and then we were just like dissecting everything. And I was like, that didn't play that right. Let me do it over again. You know, it was just it was so much fun. And it's just like if this what it was like 40 years ago, man, I would have had the time of my life.
Well, and I mean, there's so many. I mean, if you read the story of when Def Leppard did Pyromania, that was a drum machine, but they did all the instruments to basically a metronome click track, and then they added the drum machine whenever. And I mean, what a weird, but that's just Mutt Lange and his brilliance and weirdness, right? But then you hear other stories of Zeppelin doing Stairway to Heaven, and it's 16 takes for Bonham, and Jimmy Page is going, no, that's not the one. He goes in, and it was take 17, and all that stuff is so cool, right? It's just how a lot of our heroes derived at their music. But the reason why I asked you that is because you guys do have an like a retro vibe and a retro sound to what you're doing.
So thank you. Yeah, that's kind of like what we were going for because we're obviously inspired by that era, you know, late 70s, early 80s, hard rock, heavy metal. And we just wanted to pay homage to that. And we felt like we did a pretty good job in the response from the fans. They loved it too. They say the exactly same things. Like it reminds me of music of old, but with a modern touch. Like I get that a lot. And I was like, that's such a good compliment because we are a newer band, but we definitely love playing music of old. But to us,
Well,
it's not old because we listen to it all the
well,
time.
absolutely. Hey, man, I don't know if you go into my truck and find a CD that's any older than 1988. To be brutally honest, right? But like so, I'm listening to it. I'm a drummer, and I'm hearing the drum sounds, and I'm going like, this sounds like that first Queensryche EP. Like I find drums today are just way too greasy and way too perfect and way like everything is just it doesn't sound human. And I listened to that and it was like a breath of fresh air. It was going back and
Right.
listening to the old Maiden albums where you're waiting for a mistake to happen and it never does. You know what I mean? Was that what you guys were going for? Because you captured that.
It was almost like intentionally unintentional,
Yeah.
you know. But we were just happy that that's exactly how it came out, and we're happy that fans like you and everybody else like that's how they interpret it. So we are very content. We're very happy with how it came out.
No, you should be for sure. So you guys chose to put out a full length album, which you know, different people do it different ways. What are your plans with that? You're going to get a release out every few weeks, every couple of months. You're going to tour around it. What are your plans?
So the full album's out February 7th, and we actually just had two singles drop. First one was in December of it was Lost in Flames title track, and then January was Madam Dangerous. Everybody loved that music video. It was great. It was fun making. And we're planning on touring sometime in the summer or in the fall. That's like the goal for this album.
Yep.
And we're already working on album three, man. Like where we were just like waiting because there was a delay for the release of the album, so we didn't just want to sit there and hope it would be soon. So we just started getting to work. We already have song ideas, lyrics and stuff for a third album. So by the time we finish touring Lost in Flames, we're probably already going to be ready to record the third album. We don't want a huge gap like there was between the first one and the second one.
No, it's probably smart business. Keep the momentum, and I'll
Exactly.
tell you this, Joel. Like you say, I'm a musician. I've been, I'm a podcast host by accident. COVID project, whatever.
Mhm.
But I'm also not a guy that like I'm a fan, but I'm a respectful fan. But I heard this music, and I said to Dustin, it was just like, man, oh man, like I don't know if you're going to hear anything like this again, just because. I don't think the industry allows it because if somebody tries to get into a major label sort of situation, they don't allow the rawness and the that type of thing that you're doing. And I actually think that they keep the reins on singers and stuff these days. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's just my belief.
Well, I'm happy with the label we signed. It's RPM Roar.
Yep.
The guy that is in charge that I work with, Marcus, he's a huge fan of the band, and he's worked with countless like 80s, like old school bands. So he knew exactly the sound that we were going for, and he loved the first album so much. And then when we send him like the demos for the second album, he was like, "My God, like you topped the first one." He's like, "I." I want to put it out now. And I was like, oh my God, we're doing something right here. So I was happy that he was happy. And like, I'm just already like super excited to just get to work on the third one, just so he can hear it and the rest of you guys can hear it too. It's gonna be way better than the second one, and that's like I'm already saying that now, but it's I can already hear it in my head.
Outstanding. Last piece of business. Where do my viewers, my listeners, get the same thrill that I got last week when I got the stuff? Where do they find out about you guys?
You can go anywhere, man. We social media, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to listen to our music, it's on all streaming platforms. Music videos are on YouTube, and we currently have a pre-order for the vinyl and the CDs. They're up on our Bandcamp. You can find it there, and then you can stay up to date with our news on mostly Instagram. That's usually where we post. We were gonna have a release show for the album, but due to the fires going on, we thought it'd be best to just postpone it, and we're currently working on a new date. We just want to make sure that everybody's okay in Los Angeles, and we're doing our best to support.
Well, I mean that's very admirable, and the other side of it is you don't want Tommy Lee getting mad at you because he had a social media thing. So anyway, look, I want to thank you for doing this, man. Best of luck. I want to stay in touch with you guys. I really and truly do really appreciate what you're doing because sometimes I feel like I'm the last of a dying breed, and then something comes out like this, and it's like, okay, there's still some other folks out there that love making it and love listening to it. So good work.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the kind words, and it was a lot of fun, man.
And we're back on the Rock Rage Radio Network after this.